What's going on, gamers? This is going to be a custom topic, but also something that's very relevant to talk about. And it's literally about how going for a native 4K, even on PC builds in general, and consoles don't really customize settings like a PC, so you can't choose to go to a lower setting and choose better, you know what I mean, other settings like sliders or turning up the AA or whatever you want to do on PC. But this topic is mainly about how PlayStation is making people more aware that with the way they're handling PSSR 2, you don't really need native 4K anymore. What's the point if you have to spend that much more money in this market when you can achieve pretty much native 4K results on a hardware that you would say, if I wanted to get pretty much identical native 4K results on my PC, I'm spending twice as much money. Imagine when it was 702, you're not even reaching that. Because remember, to achieve 4K on a PC as well, you need a 4K monitor, and 4K monitors are not cheap either. So get a native 4K PC built for these games today. Do that for me, and then get the 4K monitor and tell me how much money you're going to be spending. I guarantee you, you're not going to like that price you're going to have to spend. So that's what this topic is about, that how PSSR 2 is changing the game, definitely in a console sense. It's not necessarily like NVIDIA didn't do this in a certain extent, but more about how Sony made this happen with a price point value that literally embarrasses NVIDIA's greed. And everybody knows this. So you can see Legion right here. And what Digital Foundry said, the same thing with how the Crimson Desert PSSR 2 footage was better than the native 4K. Do you guys remember when Digital Foundry said that? It was very interesting. Going over here to Legion's post, and we've seen this yesterday. I was talking about Soros. PS5 Pro, nearly native 4K. At that point, who cares, right? Because you're still seeing pretty much the same thing. Unless you want to be one of those hard starers, getting close to the screen, trying to stare way too hard, like a Monopoly guy or one of those things. Like, come on, bro, what are we doing here? It looks absolutely incredible. This is right here, PS5 Pro, nearly native 4K PSSR, stable 60 frames. If we were talking about just even a 4K setting earlier in this generation, you were always going for quality mode in 30 frames per second. Everybody knows this. You wouldn't have told somebody at the beginning of this console generation that you're going to be getting 4K 60 with nearly native 4K quality with games that come out that are more demanding in the 6th year. You would have said, man, be quiet. You know what you're talking about. Because Unreal Engine 5 was making everybody think that wouldn't have been possible. Everybody knows this. It's like, no, with Unreal Engine 5, you were thinking that, man, it's impossible. Consoles are going to be behind forever. Everybody was making fun of them. PC builds were a lot cheaper around that time. Everybody remembers that. So it's like, yeah, this is impossible, because you would have thought, based off of Unreal Engine 4, that because Unreal Engine 5 is struggling like that, that it is going to be like that the rest of the generation. Everything is CPU bottlenecked. But PSSR 2 and PS5 Pro changed the game. Mark Cerny teaming up with AMD has done this. Not NVIDIA. This is another thing. It's not NVIDIA doing it. It's AMD doing this. Whether you like PlayStation or not, that's not the point here. The point here is that, once again, AMD is showing you that you don't have to get something insanely overpriced to produce those results. NVIDIA has always done this. And who fed them? PC gamers. People always want to talk about anti-consumer behavior, but I said, dude, nothing still compares to NVIDIA. And who's number one on the market cap? I mean, they got the talent. Everybody knows this. We've seen the moves that they've made lately. So if you want any sort of competition to be in front of their face, you should like the route that PSSR 2 is going. And I find somebody come on my channel talking about, oh, you're saying too much about PSSR and all this. I'm like, do you not realize what you're saying on the grand scale of things? Do you know what happened when DLSS first came out? Do you know how much people talked about it and compared it for almost a straight year? Do you know how much NVIDIA talk has still been going on since then? Frame generation, same thing with FSR. I wasn't getting that type of feed. Now AMD comes in and gets this type of, you know what I mean? Like spotlight. All of a sudden it's too much because it ain't the platform that you care about. That's a loser mentality. It's like, no, this is awesome. The only thing that sucked is that Sony didn't keep that value at $750 price point for delivering like a $1,500, $1,600 desktop rig performance. There was people coming in, oh, but I could get this, that's fake frames. Imagine if PlayStation was using frame generation. You see what I mean? Because we're talking about 4K, nearly native. Go right now, do it on your PC. Go put 4K and tell me if you're getting 60 frames per second. without frame gens. Don't play games with me because I'm like, no, man. You're really not getting it for this price point value. And I'm not trying to justify the $900 price tag. All I'm telling you is go build me a $900 PC and give me that pretty much native 4K image quality and give me over 60 frames per second. You better not turn on frame gen. We're talking about raw rasterization here. So Sony is changing the game in that sense because it's like, you know what? This is a good thing. Now, imagine if they're able to add on frame generation and now consoles, I'm telling you, the PS6, you're going to be seeing 4K 120 with that. The gap for PC is going to be gone. PC gamers are not going to be able to say anything because at that point, in order for you to get specifications like the PS6, you're going to have to spend like $2,500, $3,000. Because NVIDIA is not subsidized unless you want to be an AMD guy. You're under the small percentage. Like, oh no, it's Alex. I saw him. He's an AMD guy. A close friend of mine is an AMD guy. You want to know why they like AMD? Because they're fed up with NVIDIA. It's not like they didn't like NVIDIA one day. Because I know people that are like that, but it's a small percentage of people. But guess what? They're still intelligent because they're like, what? Because I don't have that label. What, you think I can't get these performances? And they understand raw rasterization. I'm just saying. I've seen people that are AMD, and I go to them. I was like, why are you AMD? Right? And Sony helped AMD get into this position because they moved a lot of hardware. Before they were coming into the console industry, it was Nintendo that was helping with the DS, selling 150-something million. The Wii sold 100-something million. Go look it up. Nintendo was helping AMD before that. But now with PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5, and even the Xbox consoles, you know, at least the Series or the Xbox One sold like 50-something million. They helped AMD significantly. And Mark Cerny and AMD have teamed up to push that industry not only for console gamers, but this benefits you outside of the NVIDIA bracket. So Sony is changing the game in that sense. You know, just let you know, it's like, oh, if he's saying this, like, oh no, man, you know, it is the attractive title. But then at the same time, it's also very true because we have to think about what PlayStation is doing that could also be getting in NVIDIA's face. You knew this because when the PSSR 2 launched, NVIDIA tried to come out with that red light lipstick DLSS 5 hooker advertisement. Hey man, I'm just saying, man, why we got to put the red lipstick there? It's kind of funny, right? And they tried to rain on the parade. This wasn't just necessarily at Sony, because we know AMD and NVIDIA have been in competition for a long time. This was premeditated. How did you do it that day? You think the timing is somehow a coincidence, or it's just like, oh, you know, it just kind of happened? Man, come on, man. Don't be naive. No, it was done because they see that there could actually be some potential here carrying to the rest of the PS5 generation onto PC and over to PS6. And if you can get that price point value down, you have somebody like Intel coming in and maybe China coming in now with their own upscaler and GPU markets, and NVIDIA's not going to be able to sit there and be able to just, you know, manipulate everything and just kind of do whatever they want and screw you over and reduce your stock. Talking about DLSS 5. Yeah, but you reduced the stock to the RTX 50 series or 5000 series. And then you jacked up the price insanely. The price of a damn PS5 Pro. Like, even some cards went up $1,000. That's what I was saying. I don't care what you really say about consoles. Of course, all this sucks. But PC is still the worst by a mile, because the one who owned 90-something% of the PC market, like Nintendo owns 90-something% of Japan. You look at those Japan Famitsu sales every week, it's Nintendo absolutely slaughtering everything. NVIDIA is like that in the PC world, and Steam is like that when it comes to what app do I want to choose on the PC market, but they need the Windows base to do that. Steam didn't build Windows. So people are going to Linux. But I want you to just think about this, right? Like, Sony's doing it, but Sony built PlayStation. And they're teaming up with AMD. So, yeah, this is why I like PSSR. Not because I can't afford a high-end game PC. I could easily, I've been doing this, right? 5070 build, 24 core CPU processor I had. A crazy Intel i9 Ultra. You know what I'm saying? 64 gigabytes of RAM, blow away anything. But that's not the point here. The point here is that I'm looking at the whole spectrum of what most people will be able to probably afford and what they're going to be able to get in the future when it comes to PS6 specs for something that might be $700, but look at a PC equivalent to that. Dude, I'm telling you, like, it's really no competition. So I want you guys to let me know what you think about that. This is just the beginning, though. I'm telling you right now, if Sony finds a way to get GTA 6 at 60 frames per second on the PS5 Pro, and that's going to be crazy. whether you're a GTA guy or not. No, it's more like you managed to do this. I already seen a miracle with Resident Evil Requiem. You wouldn't have told me that. You wouldn't have said the same thing with Crimson Desert. You wouldn't have said the same thing with Sorrows and other games that are practically doing that 4K native-like image quality with 60 frames per second. Some going farther than 60 frames. Cyberpunk, same thing. You know what I mean? Had PC gamers going crazy and getting insecure. So it is changing the game. Regardless of what you think about the price of the hardware, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about what's going on with the hardware and the upscaler compared to how more ridiculous it is in the NVIDIA scale. And when you think about the majority of the PC base, just like if I said, hey man, if PlayStation sold 95 million, but 95%, 96% of the base is base PS5, it's like 90-some% of PC market is NVIDIA, you have to talk in that spectrum. Why do you think people, when Valve revealed that chart on Steam users, what type of builds they had, they were mainly like cheap PC builds, mid-range at best. That's why they felt threatened by PSSR 2. I'm just saying, hey, tell me that it's anything else, because I can't see it. Because I'm like, no wonder why. Because if really everybody had like 5070s, 4080s, 4090s, you know what I mean? Then what are you threatened by? That can only be a small percentage of the gaming community. Probably even less the people that have AMD builds when it comes to NVIDIA equivalent. And you guys know what I'm talking about. So that's why I feel like when it comes to stuff like this, it is a custom video that I kind of want to make. Just content I'm making on my own. And kind of just put something there to say, you see, there it is again. Stable 60 frames, enhanced reflections, ray tracing, nearly native 4K. Dude, you're not doing this on PC cheaply if you're an NVIDIA guy, because I have to be talking to the majority of the people. Don't be that one little guy in the corner. It's like, oh, no. Of course it's like this because AMD is here. If this was NVIDIA, do you, come on, man. Well, let's not go there. But you guys kind of get the point, though. So let me know what you guys think about this. Leave a comment down below. Like, comment, subscribe as usual. Keep on gaming and just think about what I'm saying. AGN is spitting some fire here. Later, y'all. Hit that like button. Leave a tip if you want to.